here is M. Brower. I was asked how to get a good mix on the rhythm and what options there are. And that's the question that I want to address today. Okay, let's get started. Basically, with Overbridge and your DAW, you have a lot more options for your balanced mix, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I'll just focus on the rhythm. First, we come to the tools that we have in the rhythm, and I will start with the most important thing, the volume. Each track has 3 options for leveling the volume with level, mix and gain. Mix volume is in the analog engine and the sample engine, and you can mix them together before they go to the amp. You get a gain control for the amp himself, and you got a level, and this is a part of the global mixer of the rhythm. Mixing is quite easy with this, but you should always think about it, what you want to use it. So maybe you can use level for your mix or the amp for your mix and something for special effects and so on. Another tool is the filter. Most of the time this is used for sound design, but when that is not the case, you should definitely use it to clean up your mix. To this we come later. Then there is Overdrive per track, which is good for creating overtones and is also a useful tool in the mix. Important to know, Overdrive is before the filter, which has its advantages, especially with a lot of drive, but I can no longer enrich sounds that have been filtered away. So keep this in mind. Last but not least, we have the compressor on the rhythm, which also can provide a benefit or support your mix. Okay, now we know every tool. Let's start with the mix. I once drove a project that's quite badly into the wall here. You can hear this mix is totally broken. You get no punch with your kick and everything is a little bit swampy. So let's clean this up. For the most electronic tracks, it's fine if the frequency sweep is light goes down so that the proportion, the bass is the loudest and the hi-hats are the quietest, and you get a very well mix, but it has to be slightly, not too hard. And in this example, I want to use a controller later for live performance. And the controller has to be control the level of the tracks, so I can fade tracks in and out. So the first thing I want to do is to put all tracks to the maximum volume, just for the level. Because the most controllers don't stop at 100 in the mix, so they get the range of 0 to 127. So this is the MIDI range of that. So if you want to use a controller, keep in mind that every track is at 127. If you are in the live performance, you are not able to adjust this at around 100, so your mix fits. So keep this in mind. So every track level is at 100. We can listen to it, but it will sound very bad, I think. I will now use the other 2 parameters to adjust the volume of the track, and I will start to slightly lower every hi-hat. You see they're very loud, so let's dive into it and lower down the amp volume. This is low enough. So here is the clap. Then you hear the drums a little bit too loud, so this will be shortened too. So we can hear only the drum section. And this is also too loud. Okay, and this range it will fit. So let's have a listen again. So the kick doesn't have the punch I want. It's a little bit lowered. Sometimes it happens that you no longer hear a sound like the kick in the mix, or the sound no longer really gets the punch you want. The first impulse is always to make the sound louder, but this has the consequence that the amp starts to bend the sound and produces more overtones than you want. To prevent this, it simply helps all other sounds turn quieter. It's a little bit more work, but helps immensely. But at this time we have enough headroom to make the kick louder. You just hear this sound. It's too loud. Keep in mind that your overdrive makes your sound much louder. To adjust this, just lower the volume here at the amp or here in the mix pages. So the rhythm and all drums are fixed. You now can see we have this ramp we want for the mix, and now the hi-hats come on it. And now you can hear these both sounds work very similar. That's both hi-hats, closed and open hi-hat, and they chop each other. But in the mix you cannot hear the open hi-hat. So if I put all together, you don't hear them. You hear them a little bit, but you can push here a little bit the volume and also here a little bit. So. If you have problems with the mix and you don't hear the sound you want to push, put it a little bit louder so you can hear it, and your ears will start to remember the sound, and then you can lower it until you get a fit in the mix. Just a little bit, so it's not too loud, not too quiet. At the end, I always make every sound a little bit quieter, so I have more headspace in the global mix. And here we will try to use the comp after we used filter and the overdrive. In this case, I used overdrive a lot more than I thought, but you can still push some sounds with a little bit more. Don't do it too much. If you use samples, it's a great way to get a little analog touch to your samples, but it becomes very fast, very bitey. If we don't use the filter for any case of sound design, we just filter frequencies out we don't need to clean up our mix. In this case, we have the hi-hats, where we can always set a high-pass filter. And keep in mind, without resonance, and cut away the low frequencies of these sounds. This keeps your low end clean. And just try here in the drum section. There you can also cut down the low frequencies, so only your bass track and your kick will there, if it's possible. That's a little problem if you work with the rhythm. It just has one filter. It's not like on the Digitakt or Syntakt, where you get another filter, which makes it a little bit easier. If you get great problems with your mix, you can still resample the sound you want to use in the settings with the filter you need and replace the analog engine with a sample and then use the filter to clean up your low end. Okay, we are done with the mix. Let's have a listen. Anyway, oh, we have the clap. We can clean up the clap. So, and that's done. So we have now punch. Last but not least, there is the compressor. I tend to make music that is very rich in overtones, so I usually don't have the necessary dynamics to compress something here. So listen carefully to see if the compressor adds value or if it just sounds better when it's off. You get the normally settings for compressor, the threshold, the attack, the release, the make-up, mix, and the output volume, and of course the ratio. A little bit interesting is the sidechain EQ. You got the low pass filter, which keeps the focus on very low end sounds. So you got the kick in the focus of the sidechain detection or bass sounds, which can make pumpy sound if you want that. The same is with the high pass frequency, which has a focus on the high pass sound, and the hit is something, a mix of all together, which focus on the sidechain. That's is if you would send a mix into the compressor as sidechain signal, so the whole sound is for this important. In this case, I want to just clue a little bit the sound and have a light compression to the drums, just to lower a little bit the dynamics. So let's try it. So now you hear that the reverb and delay are not part of the compressor, but you can adjust them, so you can pre or post set up the delay and the reverb. I will set it here. I don't want to compress the reverb, and the delay doesn't matter at this example. So I raised up the mix, so I hear the fully compressor, and now I will try to adjust a little bit the compression. If you are not sure with the compressor's release, you have two auto settings at the end of the time. There is auto 1 and auto 2. Just try them out. I think both work very well. It's a little bit shame that we can't see the gain reduction. I think I would remember that in the Mark 1 there was a line which shows you the gain reduction. Okay, let's raise up the makeup gain. Keep in mind that loudness will fake your ears, so just check it that you got the same volume with your dry mix and your wet mix. In this case, the higher frequency sounds get a little bit compressed, so this is okay for this example to just get a richer mix, but I think there is more punch in the dry version, so I will set up a little mix of these two, and that's the sound we want. Of course, you cannot expect any wonders from just a built-in compressor, but you can just thicken up your sound and glue them together. And of course, if you want, you can use it for extreme settings to go in the part of sound design. The last thing I wanna have a look at it is the distortion. It's I like them really much. This distortion sounds very beautiful for me. Just put 1 or 2 dots into it and everything gets a little bit richer. But just listen. I really like this distortion. That's a kind where I like the heat, but this part is so expensive and I need a compressor in it. But maybe there will be a heat Mark III or something like that, and then I will see again. Now we're at the end of this little tutorial for mixing on the rhythm. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, I would be happy about a like. If you have any further question, leave me a comment. And if you don't want to miss my next video, subscribe my channel. Thank you and good night.